microphone. That's why sorry for the little delay with the live streaming. As you see, the Krakow is the snow under a little bit. The temperature about morning was the minus 6 degrees Celsius. That version of the live stream is especially for YouTubers that they are just English speaking, especially from Japan, and the supporters, the 4 supporters are on the YouTube channel. The first was Łukasz Zmarzły, Ingrid Kern, Krzysztof Krzysztof, and the 4th supporter is the very important. Now they just yesterday they joined. That's why it is very welcome. And today we walking the old Royal Way. Then we see the Barbican, the Florian's Gate, and of course the main market square. That should take about we see with the battery and on the mobile phone if that's just enough strong. And then we should finish in the main market square with the legends. Okay, that's just general overview. That's just where I'm from and what do you expect from Kraków. Of course, as you see, that is not easy for tourism at first because they've got some incident with racket, and today there are no live tourism. There's a much more virtual matters. That's why you could find my profile, of course, on the Instagram, TikTok, tomguidekrakow at the Krakow, and just 4 sponsors on the YouTube channel. Very appreciate any support. The support a month is not big, $1.50 per month, and that is the very real support for tourism. Because the tourism is in collapse just in Poland. That's not easy situation. Yes, big thanks for joining. And just in one moment, in 5 minutes, about we starting the tour. I always gathering group. You see the logo Hey Go. I do the tours on the platform Hey Go. There are the tours per payment, and the such tours on the platform. You are welcome also there. But they here on the YouTube, you're watching just for free. Only very big support is the free subscription. Subscription is like an abonnement. Is just very, very important for YouTubers, especially if there's just our job. And there are no live tourists in Kraków, and we do virtual trips, especially prepared for you. I got a little trouble with microphone, that's why there's a little delay today at the starting the tour, but I think slowly we gather in group. For general information about the Poland, now the Kraków is the second biggest city in Poland. There's just over 1 million citizens, 150,000 students, and 40,000 pigeons. You could see on the way a lot of pigeons. There's the special symbol of Kraków. We're starting in the north part of the Old Town. That is the Matejko Square, the Polish Leonardo da Vinci. The academy on my left, on your right, is the main rector of that academy, used to be the Leonardo da Vinci of Kraków. We see his monument, absolutely the most appreciated, very prolific painter, and the monument of the biggest victory over Germany. Krakow wasn't destroyed in the First and Second World War. Krakow survived intact. In the First World War, was very lucky. The Tsar army moved to Kraków and decided not fighting in Kraków. There was the big getting back direction the east, and was the fighting 100 kilometers away. In the Second World War, the lucky liberation, the Soviet army liberated Kraków, and the same, not destroying monuments. Look at this, in Warsaw 86% destroyed, the Wrocław 75%, Gdańsk the same. The Kraków was just the lucky. And our flag is the white and blue. White, it's mean neutral, blue, the Vistula River. and that we are proud of our local matters. Krakowians always say I'm Krakowian, and then from Poland there's just local patriots. Kraków even there was the Republic used to be, that's just also the important thing. In one moment we walking. I think that slowly we gather in group. The people they got enough time. That's about the 50 minutes. Please prepare for the walking tour. In one moment we starting the tour, and we gather in group. Please share that live. If you share between your friends, it would be nice, because they would be informed about the such live stream. It's not easy to find live stream, I know, and big thanks just for sharing that live stream. That's most important too. Just we starting walking. Just at first have a look behind me. Is the St. Florian Church. According to the tradition, the relics of St. Florian were taken to Kraków, and suddenly the oxen stopped in front of the city. The people recognized that is the miracle, and that was the foundation of the church. The Krakow is called the Little Rome. 100 churches. We won't see the old churches, of course, but the mainly Catholics. 96% Poles are Catholics, 40% go regular to the church, for instance. That's why the Kraków, as the former capital city till 16th century, Kraków was the royal capital city. There was the main gate of the Florian Gate, Florian's Gate. On that street, you could feel like a queen or king, because there's just the main entrance from the north. In one moment, we turn in camera and we see better the symbol of Kraków, the Barbican. It is not Barbie, but the barbaric troops. Kraków was invaded 3 times by Tatars, Mongols. Was just the group later created, and then that was just the trap for enemies. I show you much better that tactic, but the 121 arrow slits, 7 Moric turrets in the Moric style, very special, and the special secret of bricks. And have a look, the tomb of the unknown soldier. That is created in the interwar time. In the model from France, just the fresh, they put the reefs after Independence Day. The Polish Independence Day is on the 11 November. We're celebrating the independence after First World War, after 123 years occupation of the Russia, Prussia and Austria. And then look at this. In that perspective, you see the monument of Jagiełło, we say in English Jogailo, the biggest victory over Germany, 1410. That was the battle, that very clever tactic caused that Teutonic Order standing in the full sun, and the Lithuanian and Polish soldiers in the shade in the forest, and that was the big victory over Germany. And that such monument was demolished in the Second World War. New governor the order to demolishing the monument, but some pieces were found and they put inside of monument, or just we see on the way the original parts of the monument made in 1910. That monument was reconstructed very late. The main headquarter from main railway of Kraków. Krakow railway was built on the line Kraków-Vienna. And then we walking to see some original pieces of the monument on Grunwald. There's the Basztowa Street, and as you see, it's a little bit busy. The people just little frozen. They're looking for the warm pubs. And have a look. There's just the original pieces of the monument. Just then you could see even the shape of the sword on that part. And on the other side, the same. Yes, that's just we waiting for sunshine, but it's just the sun is fighting through the clouds, and you see even here letter M is to find. Oh, you could see the gimbal making. Oh, there's just letter M. Okay, but it's just original pieces. If somebody looking for the original parts of the monuments, one moment. because just always sometimes gimbal is losing the horizon, and there's just a little trouble that the jumping up. Okay, just we getting the Krakow Planty and the green belt of Kraków. That's just the former moat. Krakow was surrounded with 4 kilometers long moat. Oh, this is the longest tram in Krakow, for 38 meters. And there you see the trams. Public transport is the white and blue color. That's just our flag. And then the most interesting corner. And then you see the only one gate survived. That was the decision of the local government of the demolishing in Krakow. There were always such curious matters. Just this, in the time of just the freedom, not in the war, there was decision of demolishing of the wall. There were left only 5 towers and the Barbican and Florian's Gate that we walking through. And look at this, from that side was the one drawbridge. And from the other side, Barbican was connected with Florian's Gate, and was the other drawbridge. And was just very cute trap for enemies. If the enemies entered the city, they were entered the Barbican, they were trapped inside of the Barbican. And you see the monument, but we starting on the Matejko Square and the moat. The square is called after famous painter, rector of Kraków, of the Academy of Fine Arts. In one moment we see his monument, Matejko, very prolific painter. In one moment we see him. It's the very, you see the Krakow, 40,000 pigeons. You see, this is such a paradise for the people, they're feeding them. And then you see Matejko. And that's just his father was from Czech, only 56 years of life, but very prolific. They made over 300 paintings, and the famous was the battle by Grunwald in the 1410. That's why the such. Yes, big thanks. And then you see in the frame is sitting there, rector of Academy of Fine Arts. Exactly over there is the academy called after him, and because he was rector of academy, and the square called Matejko Square. That's just the big protector of Krakow monuments, and the little secret of the bricks. If you see closer the bricks, look at this. There you see the black bricks. That was the secret of production. You know, they mix the thousand of eggs. There's just bones, live chickens, and they mixed together with the clay. And they were as strong as the diamond. That's the secret of the big resistance of the Krakow bricks. Barbican is since 1499. Imagine, since 15th century, just in the such unscathed form survived. Then we see the Krakow city wall, and then on the city wall you could see the white and red color. This is the simple like Polish flag. White is older, red is younger, and white you see with castellating is even from the even 14th century. The upper part was built younger a little bit, but it's the very simple recognize. Big thanks, Don. And at the entrance is the little detail, the white eagle of the Piast. The Piast was the first dynasty of royal dynasty, and the white eagle. That's why the Polish flag, the first ruler that saw the eagle nest with the sunset behind. That's why is the color of Polish flag white and red. And of course here Krakow is the royal capital city. We entering the city. On the right, Arsenal with the world famous work of Leonardo da Vinci, Lady with Ermine. And it's just like a cat. That's just a very important painting, the most value painting in Poland, absolutely, in the collection of the National Museum. And the Florian Street, the most beautiful street in Kraków. There's always busy pedestrian zone, no cars, is the not permission going there. Now in Wrocław, excellent is the just Christmas market. In Krakow, we're waiting the next weekend There's the starts the Christmas market. They paint, they graduated from Academy of Fine Arts, always showing the fresh works, work of arts, and that's why you see like Andy or Warhol some forms, but you could little see something. But it's one of the most interesting painting that is inside of museum is that from Leonardo da Vinci, Lady with Ermine. You see, he's just the 16 years old Cecilia Gallerani, the keeping the animal, and such a painting was taken by Prince Adam Czartoryski from Italy. It was official bought it, and during the Second World War robbed by Hans Frank. There was then they found again, and then is in the museum Czartoryski collection behind me. It looked like a monastery. That such building is they called klasztor, as the little monastery. And inside you could walk over 1 hour. Is the full of the other artifacts, like a collection of the family Czartoryski, 17th, 18th century works. Of course, the tents of the Turkish just the collections also from that time, that Polish noble people, they took the such oriental style. But the most important is Rembrandt landscape with Samarite, and there's just a lady with ermine. Yes, and then we see the pieces of the wall with the one tower at the edge, but there were used 48 towers, used to be now only 4 towers, and Barbican on the beginning in the north side of the city. And we're walking the few steps direction the market square, exactly 400 steps. Hello, Greg. And then there's a just expect. Of course, if you got any questions on the way, you could ask me, because instead of the former numbers, there were emblems and different coat of arms. That's why there were house under squirrel, under elephants, for instance, or just we see such most interesting houses on the way. And of course, the busy pedestrian zone, the Royal Way. Here was the Krakow, over 38 coronations of the kings and queens. Thank you for likes, of course, and sharing. But the interesting for me is the most curious thing that instead of the Polish king, the first touching matter from the visitors is the face of the Franz Joseph, Austrian emperor and king of Galicia. He was also the king of Jerusalem and Florence and Tuscany. That's just the Franz Joseph is just the first year. Why in Krakow, we got the sentiment, the time of Austria. It was the part of Austria as the Galicia, and we don't see at the beginning Polish king, but is the Franz Joseph, just very appreciated by Krakowians. Every third Krakowian, they could find their own roots in Austria. Of course, Mr. Bean in the Wax Museum is just the biggest attraction, but inside you see but much more controversial figures like Stalin and Hitler inside, because the Museum of the History, so-called. But the Mr. Bean is always touching attention. The tourists making photo with him. That's just very, very funny. You could take the screenshot if you like. But the most important, we've got the restaurant next door. Podzo people, it's mean Adler Golden Pipe, the pipe of beer. Consumption of beer in Krakow was the huge 5-liter beer per day, but the pregnant girls shouldn't drink more than 3-liter beer per day, recommended by doctors, the 0.5% beer. But according to tradition, Franz Joseph should visited such a house, family house of Jan Matejko, that Leonardo da Vinci of Krakow. You see that such whole house. He stayed here with his wife Theodora and 4 children. And we see the interesting detail of his face, that he was from the poor family. His father didn't have money to send him to the doctor when he had broken his nose. Look at this. That is just the face, and you see the nose is the not straight. That's just the Matejko, the prolific painter of Krakow, and in his house you could visit a very interesting museum with atelier. According to tradition, the Franz Joseph visited his house. Of course, we passed very quickly the Yama Michalika, the city cafe, and first cabaret, there's a green balloon. That is absolutely that is just the first interesting, touching, and the most classical cafe. I don't want to enter inside. Thank you, Grzegorz. I don't want to enter inside because there's the connection matter. We lost the quality of our streaming, and it's better. It's enough that I cannot use my microphone. You know, I was 5 minutes before the tour in the full stress, because I use the new microphone wireless, but the microphone is out, and I do the tour without microphone. Even I was going to finish and not to continue the tour, but if I promise is promise. I want to show you Kraków. But the technical issues, that's the biggest problem on the virtual trips. Have a look. That's just today should be much more shops open. Of course, is the tourists also expecting the Christmas market, but we see the booth for the preparing for the Christmas market. Is the still not ready? The next weekend start. Now in Poland, in Wrocław and Poznań, that's the Christmas market started. And have a look. There is the interesting the discovery. That was the house under 3 bells. There was the founder family. They made just beautiful bells for Krakow churches. And of course, it's always catching attention the Polish donuts. Dobra pączkarnia, it's mean the good donut. You know, very tempting matter. Each donut is like 300 calories. Look at this as just the pączki. But you know, the Guinness record is in the Polish American. In the time of the Shrove Thursday, after Carnival, we eat as many as we could donuts. And he ate 17 donuts in 1 minute. 3 seconds for one donut. That's why it's the Guinness record. But a Shrove Thursday. Poles don't eat anything, only donuts whole day. And there's such tradition with eating donuts. Okay, we're getting few steps further. Of course, the odd numbers on the left side, even numbers on the right. There's the same local like in Warsaw, Zapiecek. That's just I see there's something new. And on the left, Museum of Pharmacy. I just made such information with thanks. I made the information about the black balls. There was such medicine for the slim fast cure for Krakow ladies. Krakowians, they weren't short. We discovered the skeletons, and the men even had the 185 centimeters tall. Ladies even 175, 180 even happened. That's why the Krakowians get the such slim fast cure, but they could swallow such balls. After digestion, they could swallow again and again. There was such tradition with the, you know, in the many ways you could use there's such medicine for the slim fast cure. And on the right, the oldest hotel in Kraków is the such tradition. The oldest now with Michelin guide restaurant, hotel under Rose. Hotel Podróżą. You see the roses at the top of the hotel, as even since 16th century. And according tradition, the Honoré Balzac should stay here. Of course, he didn't stay here, but always such tradition. He stayed in under hotel close to Wawel, but you see the nomination of Michelin guide. And they even Honoré de Balzac should have been here, or Tsar Alexei Alexander I. You see here lived Honoré de Balzac one night in the May 1850. The Polish-French Society, the sponsored such. Also Franz Liszt. Oh, the sunshine is coming. Look at this. If we're getting the market square, we are lucky. You are lucky. That's just you see the Krakow full sunshine. The first time the sun, and we got a little smog morning. And look at this, the house under Squirrel. Again, the nice logo. In the time, the market square and streets were 5 meters lower. There's just the absolutely such rubbish, you know, the people they're still coming. They market square is getting 1 centimeter per year up, and after 5 centuries we staying 5 meter higher. Just you see in the full sunshine the main market square. That's why we going there. Then we see with sunshine the better facades of the market square is the much more interesting than staying in the shade. Yes, and then the visitors always asking why there's so many pigeons. The old legend they told about the Silesian prince. He had enough gold, but not permission of the Pope. And he asked the good witch for the help, and she said, "Okay, you walk to the Pope. You got the insignia. I turning your knights in pigeons, but was the one rule: you shouldn't spend any zloty on the way." He came back. Of course, he got insignia from Rome, but on the way in Czech Republic, in Czech Kingdom at that time, was the tavern. He drank some beer, and they came to Krakow barefeet. That's just such legend, and till today, his knights as the pigeons are very special. Illuminated, or we say, in the full impressing colors. Yellow is the November sunshine is very special. That's why we little frozen to see better. You see the cloth halls in the middle. We are in the third biggest market square in Europe after Rome and Venice, 200 meters by 200 meters, and in the middle is the oldest shopping mall of Europe, the Cloth Halls. Just in the central point, there was the former exchange chamber for the merchants, and then we see the most beautiful street that we walked, Florian Street, with the corner house under. The old name was the Under Negros, but was not political correctness, and now is the house under Ethiopians. There was the British owner of the house. They singing karaoke. There's a lot of we say British style houses with Irish pub, or we say bull pub at the bottom. There's the Sankt Niklaus Street. Yes, indeed. And then that house that is recognized as the most beautiful facade, that was the Etienne Humbert that transformed the facade. The royal architect from France. There was the royal architect of big thanks, Łukasz, especially for supporters. And look at this, they're giving special such corner. The Kamienica Margrabska is the Polish name, like a margrabia, like a very special Earl Count, the owner. And now is the bank, steel bank, and on the first and second floor is the darkness, because it's the bank, PK or SA, and it's just not habitated with the people. But that line you see in the full sunshine is called the sunny line, line AB. I recommend you watch my vlog with the whole lines of the market square. I made it with the details, the houses, tenement houses. Of course, there's the house under Eagle, Bonner, Batman house. Those are just the nice restaurants with the music, and there's just even some live music organized in some houses, like a loggia club. But there's always catching attention the group of the children jumping with pigeons, big thanks, Grzegorz, and the pyramid, like in Louvre. And then now we're walking on the roof of the underground museum, Underground Kraków. The Underground Kraków is very special, because there we getting just to the place that is just the discovery of the two cemeteries, and the over 5,000 artifacts found by the archaeologists. There's the old level of market square, the rich cloth halls. There are the sukiennice, the old cloth halls, and rich cloth halls. They were just under me, just on that line. And such pyramid is the skylight. That's just the giving the light to the museum, underground museum. Very worth to visit. About the 1 hour sightseeing. You see thousands of pigeons, 40,000 pigeons every year in Kraków. and there's such corner in the November sun. You see the some tourists even as a price, and of course we are getting then later the main church of Krakow, St. Mary Basilica, and the time for a legend that is for people that are first time with me. There's always a question why the towers are not even, but the one tower is the slim, other is the thick on the right. There were two brothers. Each of them wanted to build a higher tower. Older brother built the left tower. It was just slim, and they couldn't be higher because was that enough tall. And the younger brother thick, and older brother killed his brother secretly, and they got the money of mayor of Krakow. But after a few years, he got a big pricks of conscience. He was climbing the higher tower, opening the window, and said to all citizens, "I am guilty of killing of my brother." Took a knife and committed seppuku, stabbed in his stomach and jumping on the main market square. That's why the two different towers. You see the left tower is the trumpet tower, right the belfry. And one thing is that we see is the very controversial project. Krakow wanted to be modern. You see the old stalls for the florists. It's the 1, 2, 3. Three florists. The Krakow had a dozen markets. 20 different markets were here. Thank you, Piotr. And that is just changing. You see the typical color of Krakow, very transparent red and white, of course, and there's just the such coronets for virgins, and the 1, 2, 3, 4 stalls. I'm sorry, but look at this. What do you think about the such new project? I leave that matter open. I'm administrator of the group Kochamkrakow, over 43,000 members, and that was the big discussion. Is that such project? How much costs such booth? The price in official, I've heard about the 200,000 zloty, like 50,000 euros. But look at this. There is the very little space inside for the florists. Now they're putting some flowers inside. But is there like a spaceship, such building that could be open, and like a lotus flower there with wings, and that's of course better for the florists because they keeping warm. Inside is just of course warmer. But it's the very controversial project. The price of course is very salty, and that's the only testing model. Of course the local government is just the sponsor, and now we see if the such project a la Art Deco, there's just would be winner of the and there could be as the main place for the florists. I jumping a little bit up so that you see much better the group of pigeons and that part. And in one moment we walking through the cloth halls that I'll show you the knife of the brother Mort, that legend that I told you. Behind, of course, the monument of Adam Mickiewicz. During the Second World War, the market square was renamed as the Adolf Hitler Platz, and only the place with monument, there was a monument, of course, was demolished, and the Poles, they didn't want to enter the place of Mickiewicz monument, and they put the flowers around to respect the biggest bat. But that place was also place of the former Jewish market. In one moment we see the better, that is just the place of the former Jewish market, because on the one of the allegoric figures, the first figure is the symbol of wisdom. You see the old man with son sitting there. Then is the symbol of fighting, or the fight, and the last with the child climbing, but it's just the symbol of the poetry, of the music. But interesting is the little the star over there. You see the David star on that part. that is very special because that place was the former Jewish market on that place, and that direction is the most beautiful Art Nouveau style young Poland house with hard rock. But that direction is the Siena Street, the shortest way to the Jewish quarter Kazimierz. Oh, Łukasz, big thanks. It's not needed, it's just the, but always the little bit support. I don't know what happened with the microphone. I don't know what about the quality. But big thanks for the donation. And have a look. Here is the interesting matter with the Szara house, because was the former family Szarski. Interesting fact, in the Second World War, they got in the time of Nazi government, they got the proper Aryan papers and they could run the shop on the ground floor. It was the just colonial shop with the best goods there. And after Nazi government, in communism, they had to emigrate to Sweden. In 50s, they had to leave Poland. Oh, that's my good friend. There's a Fresh, is also licensed guide, always friendly with the talking with people. Witam serdecznie. That's just the absolutely promotion, because now the licensed guide, of course, and you could take also tours with him. They just o 15? Oh, maybe, o 5 będę się starał. O 15. A, tutaj, w którym miejscu? Aha. W szale. Okay, that's just the 3 o'clock I would be. That's just perfect. Okay, that's just także tutaj just przeskoczyliśmy, bo ma być meeting. There was a very interesting meeting in the show. He asking me, because look at this over there is the Madness, the famous cafe, and the National Gallery. That's why absolutely, if you want to visit the museum, it's very recommended to sit over there in the cafe show Madness. And in the ground floor is the Noworolski Cafe. And of course is the most traditional, standard place. Any tourist without guide always getting the Noworolski Cafe is the also young Poland style cafe. But now we walking to the through the cross of Sukienice. For people that are first time, I want to encourage you to research with me the pentagram tour with the old Freemason lodges in Kraków. And exactly, we're walking to the highest point of the market square, so-called cross of the cloth halls, and then I discovered that from there they're going the lines to the former Freemasons lodges. That's just interesting Freemasonry tour in Kraków, very recommended. That's why you could watch my old vlogs. They are with English subtitles. It's very recommended to watch there. And have a look on the way. We've got the very special meeting with Paweł Smok, our nobleman, and the knife of the brother Mort. According to the tradition, the brother killed his second brother, and you see much better the knife of the brother Mort. But we're walking through and we see the preparing for Krakow Christmas market. I'm jealous of Wrocław, of Poznań, that we got just ready to go the Christmas markets. And have a look. There's the cross with the compass that showing the Krakow main market square. Of course, there's according the tradition of the 750 years with the location of the Kraków and the Magdeburg Law, official title of the such plate. But you see very busy place, always the thousands of visitors on the place, souvenirs of course, but there was former horse stables and also the place for even elephants and camels. That's just the Krakow is very exotic. A big thanks, friend. And look at this, just the preparing for Christmas market. What's going on? We are not ready the Christmas tree, but you see angels, just something is just going on. Then we see the second part of the big market square of Kraków, but it's everything just the preparing to start next weekend. Next weekend is just the tour. Yes, big thanks. Just and have a look. That's just there's very minus 6 degrees Celsius in Kraków. As you see, everything is just not as preparing to start, but the next week. And you see the second part of the beautiful cloth halls, 15th century architecture, Krakow not destroyed in the Second World War. Everything survived intact. Have a look. That's just the cloth halls. The Santi Gucci did the top attic of the cloth halls. Look at this. That's just at the top. There are two girls. That's very tempting, interesting. That's just the style of the Santi Gucci. Santi Gucci, Matteo Gucci did the such very special style of the cloth halls. Now is the National Gallery on the first floor, and ground floor is used for the souvenirs. We've got the most entertainment street, you see, of course, with the McDonald's, but also the collecting box with money for the renovation of the Krakow monuments. It's very important that in Kraków we got the such, even in communism was the such tradition. You see the even not small banknotes, because I saw even euros, but it's just the paying for the restoration of Kraków. There's like a money box, very special tradition. That's why Kraków got the still beautiful restored houses, not only from the such money box, but the private supporters. And of course, UNESCO list. Kraków was put in the first UNESCO list in 1978, the Krakow Old Town that we walking. We walking the first part because it's infeasible in the such cold weather, they're keeping the battery and everything longer. That's why just exactly at the 3 p.m. we finishing with the bugle call and the main the St. Mary Basilica. But what is there here? Look at this. It's the Krakow Pisa Tower. It's not Pizza Tower, but the Pisa Tower. Half meter leaning to our side. You see the preparing. Yesterday I saw preparing here for the making Christmas tree, but now is the secret, and they put anywhere there's such parts of the future Christmas tree. And two lions now laying at the former entrance to the town hall. The Krakow town hall was the much bigger, but again there's such paradox. Krakow wasn't destroyed in the time of war, but was the just building substance was aging, and was the decision of the local government demolishing the such huge part of the town hall, and they left the only town hall tower. And the lions, they've got the beautiful faces. It's always looking. The lions were taken from West Ukraine, that's in that time part of Poland, and from the palace of the family close to Lviv. And look at this, Lwów, Lemberg, Leopolis, and Lviv is a lion city. And look at this lion city. There's just such form. It's beautiful, two sleeping lions. And under us is jail, and now we're getting matters connecting with the punishment in the medieval. You know, for the you see the two chains from the former judges for the we say people that they committed some offending matters. The left ring is for ladies, right for gentlemen. And what happened? For what was the such punishment? They were hanging 5 meters above the ground level. The people, of course, they could smash the stones or shit. Shit was better because kept warm. But there was the punishment for drunkenness, mispracticing, mis-selling, and even for wife if she didn't warm husband's bed. There was a such very special tradition. And then under us is jail. Hello, and then is the head. Of course, the head is making special impression. There's a Mitorai, Italian background artist from Kraków, did the such heads. He did the heads for the cities of culture, but it's the place of decapitation of murderer and adulterer, of course. That is the symbol of Kraków, Eros Bendato. You see the tourists making always photo, but usually they don't know why is there such head. Eros, the god of love. He is just very close the place that was the active the Krakow executioner. Under us was jail, and now is the executioner museum is in the place that today is the police station. In that house over there is the Krakow municipal police and the local municipal police and the police station. But of course the white cabs, father-daughter usually business. The tourists are just for tourists for fun. always catching attention. There are different opinion about the poor horses, but it's just, of course, the main taxi rank, such cab rank, is in the main market square. And then look at this again, that is such head, because in the former jail that is under us, that is the organized museum, and the museum on the other side, but in the jail is the theater, and the people's theater, and you could drink beer listen the jazz concerts in the former jail. Look at this Teatr Ludowy, scena pod ratuszem, that is just the house under the town hall, former town hall. Only one house in the style of the Hansa style. Hansa is just the blue one. Look at this. And the very rich family of Poland was the family Potocki. There's such house as the famous cabaret under Matons, and very recommended place for the clubbing on the high level. There's the most powerful family Potocki. There's also Starbucks. I see that's just connected. International exhibits organized in that house, and we taking the little loop to get the live bugle call from the St. Mary Basilica. Every hour on hour. Is the such tradition that I tell you closer. And from that side you see the south facade of the cloth halls, and there is the place that was the place of homages of the different rulers. The most famous was the German homage of the Albrecht Hohenzollern. Exactly in that place at the beginning of 16th century, they put the homage to Polish King Sigismund the Old. That was exactly 1525. The Teutonic Order became the Protestant, and we were just the powerful rulers. In the time of Jagiellonian dynasty, we got the created Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Krakow was the capital city, and the Jagiellonian dynasty, they ruled from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. Oh, Paweł Smok is coming. That was our famous now guide and also the performer that making the nice show always on the main market square. We getting to the getting the live bugle call from St. Mary Basilica. Always now is a very good light to see again the two different towers. The St. Mary Basilica exactly this year they will be 800 years old, because the first foundation of the first church on that place was in 1222, and of course the towers were built later, and especially the dome at the top. That's why it's just a later part. But listen to at first the matters in that corner, because we entering the former anti-vampire cemetery around the St. Adalbert Church. There's the oldest church just in the main market square, and only one in the main market square, so-called Rynek Główny, as the main ring. And they discovered the skeletons of the people that were treated as the not typical like witches or just the peddlers or just the left-handed. Even they were treated as just with honor to be buried between the kings, the other citizens. And look at this, on that line we walking later that direction. That's why I leaving that part with the second part of our live walking tour for another day. That's why there's the Grodzka Street road to the castle. On that line, the Nobel restaurant, the oldest restaurant and most expensive in Krakow, Wierzynek, that the family they organized the meeting for the King of Germany, the King of Greece, of Cyprus. Supper lasted several days. Even dogs and horses could drink beer soaked in oats. That was the famous supper by Wierzynek. Today, even each guest got the silver set. Of course, the greenhouse with the facade is the competitor, the Grey Goose, also the Michelin Guides appreciated restaurant. Wierzynek, they've got the Michelin Guide special nomination as the 1,000 places you should visit before die, as such place. And have a look from that perspective. Then we see the cloth halls with the Is the visible even letter S at the main front over there, as the Sigismund the Old, that king got the second wife from Italy. Bona Sforza arrived to Krakow with famous Italian artists like Francesco Frontino, Bartolo Berecci, Santigucci, and they transformed Krakow in Italian style. The Italians, they took Renaissance to Krakow, the just Germans Gothic, and French classical style, as just such mixture of styles. Now this is slowly getting to the legend, connecting with the two not even towers. You know, there were two brothers, there was two brothers I told, but the second legend they told about the Tatar invasion at the beginning of 13th century. Only one firefighter was awake, the young god, and they saw enemies and started to play wakey melody, so-called Hey Now. Hey Now, Hoynal is the Hungarian word. It means the military wakey melody. And one of the Tartar took the arrow and hit him in the throat while he was playing. The melody suddenly stopped. And the most important is tradition. Every hour on hour, the melody is played live in 4 cardinal points. There is the not breaking tradition. Even at night, at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you could get the live bugle call, the Hey Now. There are 7 firefighters at the tower, and they're staying there 24 hours. Last year, the 3 girls, they started competition to get the such position, but it's a very hard exam. They had to run 300 steps up, and they played a melody. They passed exam with running, but not playing on trumpet. That's why we're waiting still for the first girl. They could get the such position like a trumpet player in the church. You know, the different accidents happened. There was at the beginning of 20th century, the trumpet player was too old. They were 40 plus, and while he was playing the north side, he got the heart stroke and died. The Mr. Dowenga. That's just the start. That's why now the trumpet player shouldn't be older than 40 years and not young. Between 20 and 40 is the such gap that they could be employed. And the shift is now different. 12 hours, sometimes 24 hours. But imagine if they play the 24 hours, there is the 24 times 4, that makes 96 times. But even in the time changing, he had to play 100 times. That's why it's just the intensity is very high for him. Look at this again now for the better quality, the view on the south facade of the cloth halls, because we are from the south side of the market square. There's the Novorolski cafe on the left. And I think we're taking the little impressive walk along the arcades, just the arcades, making the special impression if we're walking. As the most picturesque corner, you see the tourists always like making photos here because just on the arches. And the most important, each capital was made by the Jan Matejko in different style. Now is the invisible that the artist they could make the only one pattern is the cheaper, and they're making only one. But they look at this as just each is made in their own pattern, like leaves of acanth. Also, as just the time of the Art Nouveau style. Oh, look at this. And there's just always with arch in making extra impression. And that is the satyr or so faces are also very impressive. We're getting again around. Oh, look at this. And we're waiting for the trumpet player. As just the bugle call is coming up exactly at the 3 p.m. Polish time. We've got the live Hey Now from the St. Mary Basilica. And our tour, the first part is finishing. Then I invite you for the next, I think in 1 week, between I do something in Warsaw and have a look. Here is just the such part. But if you're walking here, Novorolski Cafe is always very impressive. You see with the even some concerts on the piano. It's just hard to see inside. There's just the little mirroring. But the Novorolski is, of course, the most famous cafe in Kraków. And we're walking a little bit with the arches and we're making special impression. I think it's the only less than 3 minutes to the bugle call. Is the still chilly, you know, wind chill factor is very low. You see even after there's the little frozen camera and my hand is frozen to gimbal. That doesn't matter. Thank you for your accompany. Of course, support. Support is always nice, but I'm still thinking about my microphone. What happened? That wireless microphone didn't work. Maybe because of the very low temperature. As the electronic devices always getting crazy. And look at this. I tell you something. Just in that corner. Exactly the red house, that was just the famous wedding of the Marina Mniszek with the Ukrainian ruler Dmitry. He conquered the Moscow and the marriage was over there, but marriage over distance. There was no Facebook and he left the glove to the... Now look at this, especially for you. We're finishing the tour and for the top window, the trumpet player playing for us. Listen to. It's exactly there. Hey now, wakey melody. Oh, waving to us. Oh. Thank you. That's just, you know, that's just on the YouTube, just I'm a very long time. That's why big thanks for the supporting here. But just, of course, Hey Go is just very important too. That's just I do the tours there. But that doesn't matter. That's the next tour on the Hey Go. I'm planning on the Thursday in Warsaw, early morning at the 7 a.m. That's why we see again live on the Hey Go platform. But from the YouTube, big thanks for my supporters. I repeat again, Łukasz Zmarzły, Ingrid Kern, Krzysztof, and the new supporter is yesterday. That's why the 4 supporters on the YouTube channel. If the Don would like to join, I would very appreciate. That's just about $1.50 per month. But I do more tours also. I do the tours, live streams on the YouTube too. That's just, of course, as the both platforms are very important. Big thanks for joining that tour and see you again in the other platforms. Big thanks for the watching fully that live stream. If you didn't watch the full, you could watch later. But big thanks and big thanks for the frozen Kraków. And I think in the full very safety matters we meeting again. Big thanks. Bye bye. Thank you for watching.